Good morning. It's pre-algebra time. It is Tuesday, April 21st. So let's get started with lesson 14.6. And I hope you're enjoying working with polynomials. I think they're pretty fun. I enjoy doing these. Today we're going to be dividing. And I think this one's kind of fun because we always love to mark out things. And so today we get to cross out things, and I think it's pretty fun. So let's start with 6x to the 5th divided by 2x squared. Now I could also write this 6x to the 5th divided by 2x squared. If you see it like this from now on, you need to write it in this form. We want this fraction line to become part of what we do in algebra. So if we saw this, we would rewrite it because this is how we're going to work with a division problem using polynomials. Okay? So what I want us to do is think, well, what does x to the 5th mean? Well, I have a 6 and I'm multiplying it times, how many times am I multiplying x? 5 times. Okay? So I'm going to actually just write it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Because x to the 5th is saying x times x times x times x times x. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And I'm going to put that over 2. Well, how many times am I multiplying an x here? Well, 2 times. So x times x. Okay? Now, do I have any addition or subtraction signs in this problem? No. Okay? So what I can do is, because I don't have any, I have one term on top and one term on bottom. I have a monomial, not a polynomial. Then I can go ahead and do some division. I can say 6 divided by 2 is what? 3. Okay? Now, let's see what happens. I can cross out, because x over x is going to equal what? 1. Because if x is 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So anything over itself is 1. So we can cross those out. I can also cross out these x's. Okay? How many x's do I have left? 3. So I'm going to say x cubed. That's my answer. 3x cubed. Okay? Now, let's look at this problem again without breaking all of this out and see what we did. Well, we said 6 divided by 2 is 3. And we said, okay, I have the same base, so I'm going to give my base. 5 minus 2 is what? 3. So what is our rule? Do you remember when we multiplied, we added the exponents? So when we divide, we subtract the exponents. 5 minus 2 is 3. Okay? So this is a way for you to visually see what you're doing, but here's the rule. Subtract the exponents. Okay? So, let's do another one. Example 2. It says divide negative 45 x cubed y to the 5th by 5x y cubed. Notice I wrote it as a fraction form, not with the division sign. So I have a monomial. There's no addition or subtraction signs. So negative 45 divided by 5 is 9. Okay. 3 minus 1. So I'm going to have 3 minus 1 is what? 2. And then I have a base of y. 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay. Can I break this out if I need to? The one thing I forgot, it should be negative, right? A negative divided by a positive is a negative. So negative 9x squared y squared. Okay? Let's look at example 3. If it helps you to break it out, you most certainly can do that until you get the hang of it, but it does take more time, and you eventually just want to be able to see what to do with those exponents. Okay, so negative 16 a to the 5th b c to the 3rd over 8 a to the 4th b c to the 4th. Okay, now this one gets a little bit trickier because notice I have an a. I can say 5 minus 4 is 1. I can cross out my b's. Okay, and then 3 minus 4. uh-oh, what do I do with that? Okay, so we have to learn a few things. This one I'm going to go ahead and break out, and I'm going to say, okay, I've got a negative 16, A at 2, 3, 4, 5, a B, C, C, C. Okay, and I'm going to divide by 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, B, 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's find out what happens. Well, I'm going to put my division line. 16 divided by 8 is 2, right? 2 over 1. Can you see that, where to put it? So negative 2. And then I'm going to cross out my A's. I have 1A on the top of the line as the numerator of my problem, but no A's for the denominator. My B's cancel completely, so I don't even need a B. And then let's see what happens when I cancel my C's. Where is the leftover C at? It's on the bottom. So my answer is negative 2A over C. Okay, that's interesting, isn't it? Well, let's see what would have happened. Let's go back and let's look at it if we wouldn't have expanded it and done it this way. Well, I would have seen negative 16 divided by 8 is negative 2. 5 minus 4 is 1, so I have an A. My B's, 1 minus 1 is 0, so I can cancel that one out. And then 3 minus 4 is negative 1. C to the negative 1. Okay, so this is actually what I would have gotten. Okay, so this is something really cool that I think we've looked at this year that we have to learn. Anytime I have a negative exponent, I can change it to a positive exponent by doing its reciprocal. So my C is actually over 1 because I can put anything over 1. So if I flip it and do the reciprocal, I can say 1 over C to the first power, and the exponent becomes positive. Okay, so let's review that for a second. If I had A to the negative third power, or A negative cubed, I could change that to 1 over A cubed, and it becomes positive. Well, we always want to write our answers with a positive exponent. So if we hadn't written this out, notice that our C, though, is below the line. So we could put 1 over C, right? Well, if we can't see that and we do this, anytime I have a negative exponent, I just want to take it and I want to move it below the line from numerator to denominator to make it positive. And I don't need to the first power. So this is actually my answer. That will take a little bit of practice, but I think you'll get used to it. Okay, example 4. Says divide 10x squared plus 5x minus 20 divided by 5. Okay, so now we've moved from a monomial with just one term, and now notice we have some addition and subtraction signs, so now I have a trinomial divided by 5. Now, what we cannot do is we can't just say this divided by 5, okay? What we're saying in this problem is that basically we have a parentheses, and it's everything in here divided by 5, okay? So the way to look at this problem is to take each term, kind of like when we're distributing, we're kind of undistributing. Okay, so 10x squared divided by 5 plus 5x divided by 5 minus 20 divided by 5. We're saying everything in here needs to be divided by 5. Okay, so this is actually the problem that you're doing. So I've separated it. And now I can do a problem this way. 10 divided by 5 is 2x squared. These cancel, so plus x minus 20 divided by 5 is 4. I want to make sure it's lined up properly, not answer. So 2x squared plus x minus 4, and I can't do anything else to that problem. Okay, so let's do another one. With a polynomial, they're a little bit trickier. Divide 9x to the 4th plus 12x cubed minus 3x squared by 3x squared. Okay, so I want to look at this problem as each term divided by this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to circle these so we can look at this division problem first. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now, x minus 2 is 2, so x squared. Okay, now I want to look at the next problem. 12 divided by 3 is positive 4. 3 minus 2 is 1, so plus 4x. And now I want to look at my next division problem, which is negative 3 divided by 3 equals negative 1. 2 minus 2 is 0, so the x's cancel. So 3x squared plus 4x minus 1. If this confused you, just make sure you write it out like we did the previous problem. Write this problem, and this problem out. Okay? It'll work out the same way. Okay. Let's do example 6. Says divide 8a to the 5th b to the 4th minus 16a to the 4th b squared, and then plus 8a squared b divided by 4a squared b. Now this one is big enough that it's going to be a little bit more difficult to group it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to erase between my signs, and I'm going to go ahead and write this under each one. Okay, so that way I realize I have to take this and I have to divide it by in each term. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we get. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 5 minus 2 is 3, so a cubed. 4 minus 1 is 3, so b cubed. Okay, negative 16 divided by 4 is negative 4. 4 minus 2, so a squared. B is 2 minus 1, which equals 1. And I don't need to put that. 8 divided by 4 is 2, so plus 2. 2 minus 2 is 0, so those cancel, and my b's cancel. So 2a cubed b cubed minus 4a squared b plus 2. Okay, and that should get you through. So I hope that gets you started. I most definitely need to see your work with every problem that you're doing today. This is really important. It's a foundation for algebra next year. So go ahead and let's do numbers 1 through 30 today, all.